1, 2, 3, press you live by the champ. A last ride straight to hell, a tombstone, a body slam. Choke slam, hit you raw, this is wrestling with Savage. Back down, hold the title, this is wrestling with Savage. The epitome of scrapping them toe to toe. We ride or die, my kingdom's with me, legendary up in my road. Tearing limbs up on my pole, the ankle lock grip is accurate. Greek god in the flesh, every move is immaculate.
Savage kingdom, march on bones. Savage kingdom, fight, we reign. Savage kingdom, march on bones. Savage kingdom, fight, we reign.
I be the king of the ring, the mightiest force to be reckoned with. The unstoppable, immovable manager, cause an exodus of other voices making money choices and wins. PG era is dead, the savage era begins. Red and green, 1, 2, 3, press you live by the champ. A last ride straight to hell, a tombstone, a body slam. Choke slam, hit you raw, this is wrestling with Savage. Back down, hold the title, this is wrestling with Savage. The real boss of all bosses, pile drivers, hip tosses. We holding multiple titles while you keep stacking up losses. Roster talent that flosses, y'all can't even present a match. I'm in a tour in his army, breaking backs upon the mats.
Savage kingdom, march on bones. Savage kingdom, fight, we reign. Savage kingdom, march on bones. Savage kingdom, fight, we reign.
Meet the turnbuckle, top of my knee, and then my bare knuckle skilled superstars. You don't even wanna dare tussle, bet I'm choking.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling with Savage. We're back again. It's my partner, Jay, and our special guest, Julie Carter. How you doing?
Very special guest.
I am doing well. Thank you guys so much for having me. I know we've been going back and forth for a little bit, trying to get this on the schedule, so I'm glad that we were finally able to make it happen.
Absolutely, because I met you, I believe it was at Las Vegas, WrestleCon, or was it New Jersey, WrestleCon?
New Jersey,
that's
WrestleCon.
right. I had Godfather over there, and you came by, you were saying what's up. You were showing me some of your work, so let me show everybody else some of your work real quick.
Oh, thank you.
Introducing first, hailing from Pittsburgh,
Rebel Spirit Pro.
All right. How dare he block the camera? We couldn't see you. I'm gonna have to talk to Dishak about that. But very strong voice. Very good job.
Thank you. It's funny that you chose that clip to show because I hadn't watched that for a little while. And I kind of didn't watch it on purpose because this was the main event of that particular show. This was Base Brawl, which was in Worcester, Massachusetts, where Dijak is from, on July 26th. And by the end of this show, I was so gassed. Sometimes I don't think people realize sometimes like announcing with that much gusto and just like having that inflection in your voice, sometimes it like takes the wind out of you a little bit. And so this being the main event and then also being a fatal four-way, I was trying to like really go all in on doing up everyone's announcement. And then I had to do 4 of them as opposed to just like the regular 2. So I was so gassed when I was doing this, and I didn't, in my head, I think I envisioned it not being quite as strong as it actually was when I watched it back. So I finally watched it like a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh, that actually sounded quite a bit better than I thought. So I'm glad that you chose that one because
sounded good. Even for the main event, how many matches were on that show that you did?
Oh gosh, probably this was like a longer show, so maybe like 7 or 8.
Okay.
If I had to guess. And then like the filler stuff in between the matches, putting over the merch and putting over the sponsors and our partners and all of those kinds of things. So sometimes like when I'm really trying to put a lot of emphasis on my announcements, like I have to try to like not pass out by the time I get back to my station.
I'm gonna be honest. I would pass out with my voice. I don't even think I'll get past the first minute. So how do you prepare for like 7-8 matches with your voice? Do you have like a special technique or you do before you start getting on the mic?
Nothing too crazy. I usually, a lot of the time when I'm driving to shows, I'll practice a little bit in my car, but I kind of have to get it like at just the right balance where I warm up my voice a little bit so that it's not cracking too much when I first get on the mic. But then I don't want to warm it up too much to the point where it's like already raw by the time I'm starting. So what I'll do is I'll download anybody on the roster that has like catchy entrance music that I really like. I'll end up downloading a lot of their songs. For example, like on this particular show, like I have Spencer Slade's entrance music. I have Anthony Green's entrance music, who was on earlier in the show. A couple of the other guys, like if anyone has like really good entrance music, I will download it and I'll listen to it in my car and I'll practice their announcement over the music in my car so I can have it all timed out and everything. And the other thing is a lot of the guys I've announced time and time again. So like I never use cue cards. I'm very anti using cue cards because I'm like, you never see people on TV using cue cards. So I memorize all their information. And after a while, you kind of know it because it's like you just announce so many of the same people over and over again. So then that at least makes it easy if we're incorporating maybe like 2 or 3 new people, then that's all I really have to memorize for the first time. And everything else is just kind of like
natural. It's routine.
Yeah, I've done it enough times where it's like now most people on the roster, if you ask me like all of their stats, I'd probably be able to tell you offhand.
What do you do if you don't know how to pronounce the guy or girl's name, and let's say there's not even enough time to ask them or anything like that, or they haven't showed up yet, or just whatever, the million things that happen when we're at these shows. They're never on time. What do you do then? Do you just wing it, or do you try to ask someone? What do you do?
To be honest, I don't know that there have been a lot of situations where I've like fully had to wing it. A lot of the time what I'll do is say we have a show and I know most people's stuff, but there's like a couple new people that are being added into the mix. Most of the time I'll try to message people beforehand, like on Instagram, and see if I can get their information in advance. So I already have it in my notes before the show. If for whatever reason, occasionally like I'll message someone and they might not see the message. So like I'll have to get it the day of. I might at least watch some of their stuff online. Like if there's a weird pronunciation, if I have a question about a pronunciation or something like that, I might watch like some other videos of them to try and get an idea in advance. I'll try to get as much in advance as I possibly can so that at least if there's anything that's like slightly different at the last minute, like for example, there was a show that I did in July. It was for Fight Factory Wrestling down in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And there were a couple guys like they were bigger names like Gangrel or Joey Janela who I wasn't in touch with in advance, but like I could at least find their information online for the most part and then just like double check it with them at the last minute so that they could kind of tweak it to be exactly how they want, because some of it might be outdated or
is it hard to get, like, let's say if I'm an indie wrestlers that are coming up, is it hard to get their information? Because some of them don't even open up. Some of them don't even be posting on social media. So how do you go about that?
Sometimes it is. Like, I mean, those would probably be situations where like I'd probably just have to get their information the day of. And luckily, usually I'll have time in between the matches where like I can double check my notes, whether I'm going backstage or like I just have my notes at the commentary table or whatever it is. Like I said, the good thing about situations like that is usually for the most part, I'm able to get most of my notes in advance. I'm able to have most everything that I need in my brain in advance, so that usually it's just like filling in a few blanks here and there. But I'll try to message people in advance. And then, like you said, you have those people that don't check their Instagram messages. They don't open their messages. So I just kind of have to work with what I have and fill in the blanks the day of and hope that I don't forget anything, which usually I'm pretty good about not forget. Every once in a while, I'll like have a little, like I might forget like a little piece of something, and then I'm kind of like beating myself up after the fact. But then I'm like, oh well, I got most of it. I'm very nitpicky. I'll nitpick because I've always been a perfectionist when it comes to my work and everything that I do, whether it's, in wrestling or whether it was like in school or in dance or music growing up. So I'll nitpick myself, but then I have to try and like look at the bigger picture and be like, okay, like considering I had all of this stuff to memorize, I had to know about every single person on the roster, and maybe I missed this one little thing. Like all in all, it was probably a pretty successful show. So
all right. I want to shoot some questions at you quickly,
okay,
just to get some answers. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh, that's a tough question. So I have a couple people that were like big inspirations for me growing up, and I still consider to be big inspirations to this day. I was number one, really big Chris Jericho girl growing up.
Nice.
And one reason, I'll give you three. Okay. Huge Chris Jericho girl. A big reason why, and I think that this still rings true today, is considering how long he has been in this business for. I feel like he's reinvented himself so many times, and he's come up with so many successful monikers and gimmicks over the years. And the thing is, I feel like sometimes people try to do that because they feel like they need to mix it up, and it's like they're going out of their way to try and reinvent the wheel, and it doesn't necessarily feel authentic and it doesn't feel like it works. Whereas with him, I feel like he always falls into something that works, and he listens to the audience. If the audience latches onto something, whether it's something that they like to chant, a nickname for him, whatever it may be, he leans into those things and he capitalizes on what the crowd tells him. And he does it very well also as a heel or a baby face, which not everybody can do. Yeah. I mean, I think as a worker, everybody ideally should know how to work both, because you never know what's going to be asked of you. But there's some people that just naturally lean into one or the other better. Whereas I feel like he has mastered both very well. Second person, Kurt Angle, was a huge inspiration to me growing up. He's the only reason I drank milk growing up.
Great choice. Yeah, I'm actually pretty good friends with Kurt Angle, and yeah, before ever meeting him, I was enthralled by his wrestling, his ability. Yeah, for sure. Great choice.
I mean, amazing technical wrestler, especially. I mean, obviously he came from an athletic background, but not necessarily coming from like an indie wrestling background, kind of.
He won the Olympics for the freaking broken neck, man. Freaking broken neck. That's his gimmick. Who's number three?
And number three, Dustin Rhodes, actually, Goldust. I feel is a super underrated character in WWE, WWF, especially during that time period, because I feel like that was such a cutting edge character for that time period. And it's a character that, like, if given to the wrong person, it so easily just could have been a complete flop.
He could have been WWF champion, in my opinion.
I agree. And I say that to people all the time. So I'm really glad that you brought that up unsolicited. I just think that's a character. If you gave that to the wrong person, if you gave that to someone that wasn't committed to the bit 110%, that character could have been a complete disaster.
Absolutely. He was the right man for that job. My next shoe question to you is, all right, make this fast because we got to move on to Raw.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Favorite independent wrestler on the circuit right now? I know it's going to put you in a tough spot, but that's life.
I know. I mean, I have a couple that I really, really love.
No, just one. Give us one. Who's your favorite? Like, you know
I
you
like
have
how
the
she
one.
started, like, I have a couple.
You
but-
know you have the one that just does it for you. Like, yeah, that girl, that guy, whatever, whoever. Doesn't it can be guy, girl, whoever. There's
Okay.
a lot of good ones.
There's a couple that come to my mind really quickly, but I'll just give you one. Brad Baylor, WWE ID prospect.
Yeah.
I met him a couple of years ago working together, and it was so fun. I think he was like 18 years old at the time. He was like the sweetest person. That's one of the things that I love about him, and I think this rings true for like some of the best heels in the business are always like the nicest people in real life. He was just like the sweetest kid, so respectful, so polite. But then when he gets out there in front of a crowd, like the way that he wrestles, the way that he moves in the ring is just years beyond his experience. You can tell that he's very well trained. He's trained by Paul Roma of WCW fame down in Connecticut. And he was named as one of the WWE ID prospects last year, which was like very unsurprising because if there was anybody that I would have guessed would have been deserving of that distinction, he absolutely would have been one of those people. And he just plays such a fantastic heel character. I noticed sometimes in watching his work that he thinks very well on the fly. Like I remember one spot that he did at a show we were on. I think he was supposed to grab a steel chair from underneath the ring, and I don't know if it was there. But then we happen to have the heavyweight championship close by. And so he pivoted and he used that instead for the angle that he was doing, which actually probably ended up being better and making more sense. And just some of his promo work on the fly, I think, is really strong as well. And just a sweetheart of a person in real life. So he's one of the first few that comes to mind.
I can tell that you have the eye for it because that's like a small detail that not a lot of people will catch, that the wrestlers can just adapt on the fly, and you need that in life, whether it's in a promo, a shoot, a work, or a match. You need to be able to adapt. I want you to tell me a little bit about this event that's coming up here. Might as well tell us all now since we've had it on the screen for about 10 minutes. You wanted to promote it Thursday, October 30th?
Yes, this is Thursday, October 30th. It is Rebel Spirit Pro Wrestling Fear No Evil. This is actually, despite being our first ever Thursday show, normally we run on Saturdays, but we're doing a little something special this time with Halloween coming up that Friday. For being our first ever Thursday show, this has actually been our fastest selling event thus far. We have a huge main event, which you can see showcased on the poster. We have our heavyweight champion, Dijak, who won the title back in July in his hometown of Worcester, Massachusetts, against the current MLW World Heavyweight Champion, Cruel, in a casket match as our main event. And we're also going to have a really strong card. We've posted some of the matches on our Instagram and Facebook pages as well, some of the undercard, and it's looking like a really strong show. It's at Tacklebox Brewing Company, Marlborough, Massachusetts. It's going to be all decked out for Halloween. We have a costume contest. We normally have live music before the show. It's a brewery, so obviously if you're 21 plus, you can drink, and we'll have a lot of the time food trucks as well. So it's a whole experience. And I think this is one you're really going to want to get your tickets in advance, because this activity room at the brewery is going to be packed to the brim. This is a show that you are not going to want to miss.
It sounds like a really good time from the way you described it, with just like the vibe that you get from the food, the drinks, the liquor, and then of course the pro wrestling, the athletes. Make sure everybody's following the Crown Jewels, Julie Carter. Are there any other companies you're trying to get into right now or have worked for besides Rebel?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a whole list of companies that I've worked for before that I would love to go back to. I did my first show for Fight Factory Pro Wrestling over the summer back in July. That was really cool. It was on the beach on the Jersey Shore. I know that they have another show coming up in November. I have worked for NWA Exodus Pro Wrestling out in Cleveland, Ohio, relatively recently. CCW Coastal Championship Wrestling down in Florida. Pro Wrestling Action down in Florida. I would love to get back down there sometime soon. I do have some things kind of in the works behind the scenes that I am hoping to debut somewhere, and I don't have it all set in stone yet, so I don't want to say too much, but I do have some new things that I'm working on behind the scenes. I'm trying to think of what else. I did some interviewing at Big Time Wrestling last year. I don't know. They usually only run like a couple times a year, so if they're ever back in this area, I'd love to be there again. I could go on, but I mean, between the shows and the podcasting, and I'll be at WrestleCade next month. I'm trying to keep myself as busy as possible.
That's all it is. Stay busy, keep working, get the work out there. You got a good voice for it. You got a good eye for it. Who knows where it's going to take you? I think I had asked you. I asked you again before I asked you. You have any questions?
I got a million questions, but my questions is going to be long answers. I don't know if you guys ready, but I'm going to shoot one because I'm going to use her answer and I'm going to twist it into a question. Okay. She said she was a Jericho girl. She said she was latched on to him. So my question to you is, how do you get the audience member to latch on to you when you're ring announcing any type of event that you go for? What do you do to get the audience to get into you?
That's a really great question, especially as a broadcaster, someone as part of like the broadcast team, because to be honest with you, I feel like it's really easy. Every single person is like an important piece of the puzzle in making a show successful, whether you're ring announcing, commentary, interviewing, and there's so many moving parts. And I feel like sometimes people are, you're thinking about the wrestlers and you're thinking about the in-ring performers because that's sort of like the highlight of what you're seeing, right? But I feel like it's really easy as like a broadcaster to sort of feel like you're just kind of blending in sometimes. So like some things that I do, and I don't necessarily think of it as like a way of trying to, put myself over, but they're just things that I do because A, I feel like they're things that I resonate with, and B, I feel like they're things that just jive well with professionalism. I like to get dressed up in really fun outfits for all of the shows because I figure if I look like I am TV ready, if I have that look where I'm doing, my makeup and my hair, and I've got my nails, I've got the tan, I've got like an awesome outfit on for every show, you never know who's going to see you and you never know when they're going to see you. So it's like, you've got to look professional and you've got to look TV ready at all times because, if someone important happens to be at a show, or if someone happens to see my picture or a clip of my work on social media, I want them to see me in such a light where they say like, wow, she looks like she could be on TV, without having to tweet too much. Obviously, when you get signed to a major company, there's probably little things about you that are going to continue to change and evolve over time. But I'd love to at least be seen and have someone say like, she looks like she knows what she's doing. She looks like she belongs here. She looks like she could be on TV. So I always put that thought in. And then I guess kind of just having some sort of a stage presence as well, and really putting that effort into having the tone and the grit and the inflection in my voice that I like. I mean, there's certain people that I grew up watching on TV, like a Lillian Garcia, and there's certain ways that, when I read someone's information, I kind of hear it in my head a certain way. And so trying to make sure that I inflect my voice and have the right power and grit in my voice where it hits the way that I want it to hit, as opposed to just kind of maybe shyly reading off of a card and having it sound sort of generic. So, I mean, those are important things, and just kind of feeling like I have a presence when I walk through the curtain, feeling like I connect with certain people in the audience. Sometimes it's like you announce someone, maybe, I announce one of the heels and he comes over or she comes over, grabs the mic from me to cut a promo. Just little things like looking around at people in the audience and maybe like making eye contact and saying like, what's this guy talking about? You know what I mean? Making those little connections where I'm not just standing there, but I'm really adding something. I'm also playing into the stories that are happening on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And
Exactly.
great advice. Yeah, that's why you never catch me at any event without a suit on or something like that.
Exactly. You always have great suits too. They're always like very high
He's
end.
famous for suits.
I try. I thank my tailor. He's pretty good.
Famous for suits.
It's better than that loser DJ Storm suits, which we'll get into that loser. I got to tell you about this loser.
No, not again, not again.
Before we get into him, let's get into Monday Night Raw, and we're getting into Crown Jewel, right? That was the big event that took place this weekend. We kick off with Roman Reigns. Yeah, 8 in the morning. Bronson. You know, I kind of like 8 in the morning because then you have your night free. You don't have to waste it, watching bad wrestling.
You wake up 8 o'clock to watch live event.
Listen, whatever, man. I did not watch this match. I caught the highlights. So Jay, I know you watched it because you watch everything. So was it a good match?
I'm pretty sure Julie watched. I'm pretty sure everybody watched it. Right. But I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I will admit I did not see everything in full, but I did see bits and pieces enough to talk about some of the highlights here. So I'll let you go first, and I'll just
make it. I'll make it very brief, but I enjoyed this match. I thought it was well deserved for Bronson Reed to get the W. He is a big star, as you could see, and this is. I mean, Roman Reigns got pinned. When was the last time he got pinned? Jey Uso. So that's a big victory. Plus, it also builds a story for the bloodline and what's going to happen with Jay and what's going to happen with Jimmy. And I like that. I like when I get invested in something. And that's what this match did for me. It got me invested, and I enjoyed it. Thought it was a great match.
Okay. You enjoyed it. I'm sure it was a great match because everybody in the ring is a good wrestler. They're a good worker. But Roman Reigns losing, that's a big deal for Bronson Reed. It's going to put him on another level when you beat a guy like that. What do you think about Bronson Reed so far, his run that he's having, Julie?
Well, I mean, I think that you make a great point in that they've spent so long building Roman up. I mean, first of all, they spent years building him up to be the top guy when people didn't want him to be that guy. And then finally, I mean, it took years of him being kind of shoved down the fans' throats until finally we all got behind him. And then in those years since we've gotten behind him, I think that the storytelling that they've done with him is so brilliant because it could be really easy. I think after his run as the world champion and after his sort of initial run as the tribal chief and being paired with Paul Heyman in the bloodline, I think it would be really easy for them to sort of fall off in terms of creative ideas. Like, I think it would be really easy for that to sort of like be his peak. But I admire the fact that the creative team has kind of kept that story going, despite the fact that there's been twists and turns and changes and alliances along the way. I admire the fact that they've kept his story going. And like you said, now to have built him up for so long, to then have Bronson Reed pin him at such an important event, puts him on another level, and it gives him a level of credibility that honestly probably not a lot of other people on the roster have at this point.
No, this is what I call doing superstar shit. That is getting superstar stuff done. You're turning him into a superstar overnight just with this because it's significant. Roman Reigns is good TV. He's been good TV for a while now.
For a long time.
He used to be very bad TV for a long time too, but that's what makes it so good to watch his progression and growth. And here we are now, and he's creating new superstars, giving back to the business. We'll get into this tag team match here. I believe the winners were it says Rhea Ripley lost, but that's a lie. I think the AI is losing its mind. Rhea Ripley.
AI is not good, my friend.
Yeah, AI is losing its mind. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky definitely won that match. I saw some highlights. It looked like a good match. I personally, listen, this is the Rhea Ripley show, okay? They're in her hometown. This was all to make Rhea Ripley look great. That's what I thought what it was for, because the match, there's no titles on the line. There's no nothing. Where's the United States title? Where's the Intercontinental title? No, we're giving Rhea Ripley her own match because it's her country, and we got to make sure everybody knows that nobody can beat mommy.
Plus, it's not our hometown, but it's Australia. So.
Australia, her home country. Excuse me.
Home country.
Home country, not hometown, but home country.
All right, whatever.
So that's why we have her on the show. So.
Okay. I understand.
I will say I love Asuka. I feel like
Yes.
Asuka, I have to say, I think she is oftentimes an unsung hero in a lot of these situations. I think she was an unsung hero way back during the COVID era where everybody was performing in front of 0 fans. I think she kept that era extremely entertaining. I feel like for me, the way that they booked her, it kind of fell off for a while because obviously when she was in NXT and then when she initially made her debut on the main roster, she was undefeated and they put her on a very high pedestal.
Yeah, for sure.
And they kind of built her up to be like, this undefeated, like who could possibly touch her kind of person. And then once she finally did get defeated, it kind of felt like for a while she was kind of floating around, and then it was like she was getting defeated by a lot of people. Yeah. And I was kind of like, how did this happen? So I'm glad to see them using her in a meaningful way because she was at the top of the mountain for a while, and then I felt like they kind of just let her flounder for a little bit. And so like I just feel like it's really important to kind of acknowledge how good she actually is and find new and creative ways to build her back up as well. Even if she's not necessarily the one going over, but like she has such a creative way also of doing little things to reinvent herself over time and doing just little mannerisms throughout the match that kind of keep things fresh and entertaining. And I think she deserves all of the flowers.
Well, I'll say this. She's one of the best female wrestlers in the world. She had one of the best runs. In my opinion, she can be world champion anytime she wants to. Will that happen? I don't know. And the reason I say that is because I don't think there's ever been a point in history where we've ever had this much female competition for the top spot.
That's true.
I mean, just the fact that Stephanie Valcora and Rhea Ripley exist in the same world right now, that's
nuts.
It's a big problem for any female that wants to be champion in the next 10 years. I'll just say that. But I'm sure it was a phenomenal match. I saw the highlights. It looked good. I think they're going to keep going with that storyline. We'll get into it again on Monday Night Raw. Some guy on ESPN said this was a bathroom break match, Jay. Is that true?
Wow. Whoa, you just talked about Stephanie Valcora.
I'm asking you because I'm going by what the ESPN douchebag said. I don't think that could possibly be.
Listen, I'm going to tell you guys, if you really, really watch this PLE, the biggest bathroom break for Jay was basically when they sang the national anthem in Australia. One of the biggest mistakes, one of the most embarrassing thing I see on TV.
I heard we got booed.
About that later.
I heard we got booed pretty hard.
I wouldn't call this match a bathroom break. I would call this match kind of a short match due to the fact that Tiffany Stratton just got her head on basically the knees of Stephanie Valcora. And I really think that ended the match quickly because I noticed the referee was talking and then all of a sudden 2 minutes later, the match is over. I think they would have had a longer match. I thought the match was good. It was very technical because we all know Stephanie, what she can do. But I thought this was actually, besides that injury, I hope she's not injured. I hope not. But I thought this was Tiffany Stratton's best match I've seen.
Dude, I thought Tiffany Stratton was going to be like the champ, like the ass kicker of all ass kickers for a long time. And then Stephanie Valcora comes in, and I seen what she had been doing. And I told you, Jay, that this girl was headed for everything. I said she was going to take over everything. And look, here we are, months later, world champion, crown jewel champion. This girl is it.
Still going to stay behind Julia. I'm still going to stay behind Julia. So you can take her, take Julia.
Stephanie's the baddest female in the game next to Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, right now. What do you think, Julie?
I agree. And actually, this was I was reading, this was Tiffany Stratton's first loss of the year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is looking at the year and seeing we're in October. I kind of forget that we're in October.
This is someone who beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, and now she's losing to Stephanie Valcora. That alone makes a statement.
That alone says a lot. I will say, I did watch Tiffany and Charlotte's match at WrestleMania. I thought it was a good match. I didn't think it was
could have been better.
Yeah, I mean, who am I to say? But I mean, they're both just such incredible athletes, and I know, we've seen what both of them can do. I thought that was an okay match. I'm really glad to see Stephanie Valcora get her flowers. not just because she's really talented and gorgeous, and I know that she has
if there's any wrestler, she's the total package.
She's a total package, and you know that she spent years and years wanting to be in the WWE and wanting this opportunity. I think that's part of what makes it so rewarding to watch as a fan and as a bystander now, is because I think it was Booker T that did an interview not that long ago, and he was talking about like some of the young talent that departed from NXT recently. And NXT now they have this thing where they sign some independent talent, but they sign a lot of college athletes with the hope of training them to become wrestlers and fall in love with wrestling. But one thing that Booker T had said was that I guess at one point Stephanie had gone on the record saying that wrestling was basically like her form of nourishment. And if she wasn't wrestling, she was like starving. And Booker T was saying like these people, these, young performers that aren't coming from that sort of background, like they don't have that kind of mindset. And so to think that, that's where she's coming from, and she's fought so hard over the years to be in this position, to finally see her in this position, I think makes it that much more rewarding to watch.
100% agree. And I'll just say this, 100 years will go by. You will never see anyone ever again come into the main roster as fast as she did and have that crown jewel championship.
And win it all. Yeah.
I mean, Julia came up too, man.
Does she have the crown jewel champion? No, she doesn't.
The U.S. title?
And she never will. We got to
She
get
was
into
the first NXT champion before Stephanie.
You're in love with her. Send her a letter to her fan club or something, all right? Let's get
I am in the fan club of Julia.
John Cena's last match is coming up on December 13th, but before it does, he had to take on Mr. AJ Styles Saturday at Perth. John Cena, of course, wins the match. A lot of homage to all the people that he's ever wrestled. John Cena probably did more moves in this match than he's done in the last 20 years. Good slow-paced match, right? A classic traditional kind of storytelling. David LaGreca went on to say it was the best match he's seen in the last 10 years. I don't know if that's true. Jay, you saw it. What did you think?
Guys, I had Bandino versus Hentriceto as match of the year, and now I have changed my vote, and I'm putting AJ Styles versus John Cena in Perth as the best match that I've seen of this year. My God, this was a love tribute. If you're a true wrestling fan, I don't care how old you are, this was a love tribute to us. I enjoyed this match. And Savage and Julie and everybody that's watching, this is why it's match of the year. They did the same thing they did in the Royal Rumble. They never stepped out of the ring. They never stepped out of the ring. And that's what wrestling's about. It's about what's going on in the middle of the ring. Guys, this is match of the year for me, by hands down.
Okay. Julie, did you get any highlights of this? Or what are your thoughts anyway on AJ and John Cena?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think that AJ Styles, and I've thought this for a number of years, and my opinion has not changed. I think that he is probably one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. I love that he brought out the nostalgic gear for this match. And I know that you had mentioned storytelling, and that's one thing that I love about this match, as well as some of the other sort of like major pay-per-view matches that we've gotten over the course of the past couple of years, is I feel like they do a lot of little things. They figure out how to tell other stories within the match. It's like they're telling the story of how they got to this match within the match. And it's one of those things, like if you catch the little Easter eggs and you're able to put two and two together and you know what they are, then it's a really cool moment. If for whatever reason you aren't able to catch those little Easter eggs, if you don't have the background knowledge to catch some of the little things, it's like, it's also not taking away anything from the match, from anybody. And on top of it, if you think about the fact that John Cena is getting ready to retire, if you think about, these guys, their age in the wrestling business, obviously they're not old people by any means, but considering how long they've been doing this for, how much his body is probably hating him right now, the fact that he's still able to pull these matches out of his back pocket is pretty wild. Because some guys, it's like, you see them get towards the end of their career and they want to have their last match, they want to have their last run, and you can tell just by watching them that it's like kind of painful for them. But I feel like he's being strategic in retiring at a time where, number one, he's not overexerting himself in doing matches like this so often. Where he's like really killing his body super regularly. But he's also doing it while he's still got enough left in the tank to pull out matches like this so that we can remember him going out on a high note.
Yeah, no, he's still going out looking like a superhero every night, and that's what his career was about, looking like America's superhero, and he's doing it. And that's why he's one of the GOATs, having matches like this. Talk about storytelling. We have these guys who've been telling a story for a long, long time. I mean, he was Dusty's student, one of your favorite wrestlers' dads. So these guys go way, way back. And they did it again. We knew Seth Rollins was going to win because it was a must-win situation. I actually saw this match. I did love the match. I didn't like the 56 kickouts, but other than that, the match was good. Jay, what you saw, what did you think?
Was good.
That was the move of the night, by the way. That was the move.
Pause it right there. Can you just pause it right there?
That was the move of the fucking night, dude.
That's the move of the night for you. That was the dumb move of the night for Jay. That move right there. Was that really necessary? Did anybody see how he landed? Did anybody see that? He just landed on his side. I thought it was unnecessary to do. And that's something he does not do. I get it. You want to try new things. It's perf. We're making an example. La, 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 la. But I just thought it was a really dumb move to do. He landed on his side. I really thought he separated his shoulder, guys. When I saw that, I don't know how you guys felt. Maybe you guys were into the match and you enjoyed it. But for me, I was worried. I was like, oh, crap. Don't tell me you just injured his shoulder. You could see it. He was just holding it.
Yeah,
that's not fake. That's real. And we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But I just thought it was unnecessary, but it was a good match. But
listen, I thought it was a legendary first of its kind. First time he ever attempted it in a big time situation. I don't care if he got hurt. Some wrestlers are willing to get hurt for the moment.
Not when you're the champion. You are at a high risk and you cannot afford to do things you are doing, especially for the first time. Now, if you want to do a coast to coast, do the coast to coast. Do it with your legs. At least you won't hurt yourself as much as you're hurting your shoulder.
That's why he said freaking Rollins, man.
Yeah, with a sling.
All right. You didn't like it. All right, Julie, how about you? What'd you think about the matchup?
So I have some. I mean, I think it was a good match. Do I think it was like the most memorable match that I've seen either of these guys in recent times? I don't know if I would go as far as to say that. One thing to Jay's point, if you go back to the photo that you just showed of Seth Rollins,
the move of the night.
Number one, I do think this would make a great meme, and I'm very much looking forward to see what kind of memes come out on the internet as a result of this photo. But I think that you make a good point, Jay, in that it's not about what you do sometimes, but it's about why you do it. And I get that this was a big show. They're on a huge stage. He's trying to make an impact, and you want the match to be memorable somehow, some way. But then I also question the logic behind, like, is this the most sensical way?
He's not having logic in that moment.
No. I mean, he's trying to do something.
He wants to steal the show. He's trying to steal the show with this. That's what that is.
He's trying to steal the show, but it's also like, and to your point, like, we've seen plenty of times performers doing really insane things in the ring that are not only going to hurt their opponent, but they're probably going to incapacitate themselves to some degree. This one, I'm kind of leaning into what Jay was saying, and then I'm like, was this the most reasonable way to inflict injury on your opponent as opposed to inflicting injury upon yourself?
Probably not, and that's probably why he's injured, which we'll get into in a little bit. Seth Rollins, your new crown jewel champion. I don't know if it means anything anymore, especially if he's out. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. TNA Hall of Fame induction ceremony hosted by Gabby
Laspisa. I just worked with her over the summer.
I know her from Busted Open. She's a sweetheart.
Yes, she's extremely talented, and I hope that they sign her full time.
She has been working her ass off. I think she has a podcast too that's doing pretty good. Tracy Brooks introduces Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, and also Mickey James was inducted as well in the class of 2025.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
That's what I heard. They set a new attendance record, 7794 in Lowell, Massachusetts. And we started off with the Inspiration versus the Elegance brand. And I believe the Inspiration won, Jay, correct?
I have no idea. I didn't even. Was this a pre-show match? Because I didn't see this on the main card.
I heard this is what happened. Julie, you watched the show. Did you see this match?
I did see that the Inspiration won. I'm very glad over the course of the past couple of months to see them back on TV. I love them as a tag team, and I hate that they ever got broken up in WWE.
Yeah, they were great. They were great in WWE.
They're just two people that, like, I mean, they're both extremely talented in their own unique ways as individuals, but they're best friends in real life, right? Like, you constantly see them doing everything together, and I just think that their whole act, like, they're just two people that work so well together as a tag team, and I think that's something that WWE has really been lacking in that, like, they created these women's tag titles, and yet all of the sort of like more established women's tag teams end up getting broken up, and then they kind of just like mix up all these different combinations of people that, you know, it feels like it's constantly changing. I love that they are like a strong, cohesive women's tag team. One thing that I will say, and this might be veering a little bit off topic, but still related, is having to do with the TNA NXT crossover. For one, I like that women that are signed to TNA on the TNA roster actually have the TNA Knockouts Tag Championships, and that they don't have them in a different company. But that's one thing that, like, this match, we have all TNA talent, but that's one of my peeves, I think, with this whole crossover thing, is that there's definitely benefits to it, but I feel like we're seeing so much crossover, like, for example, in the other women's match later on the card, where there are some new young up-and-coming talents that are signed to TNA. I know Maggie Lee is someone that we've seen a lot of, and we've seen her growing in the time that she's been there, but there's other women as well that have recently been signed to the TNA women's division, and I'd love to see more of them, but I feel like I'm not seeing as much of them because I'm seeing women from NXT on TNA all of the time.
The roster's too stacked right now. That's why they're constantly letting go of people, because they just have nothing for a lot of them. That's the sad truth. There's only so much TV time, whether it's TNA, NXT, or main roster. Frankie Kazarian taking on Steve Macklin. I believe Steve Macklin is your new international champion. Jay, you saw this one?
Yeah, good match. I don't have a lot to say on it, but it was a good match. The Marine won, and there you go.
Steve Macklin is a machine. Kazarian is a freaking legend. I mean, the guy was fighting John Cena like 25 years ago before anybody. Julie, did you catch this match? Any thoughts on this one?
I don't have a ton to unpack on this one. I do think that they're well-matched opponents for one another. And it's good to see I feel like Steve Macklin's one of the guys that we see working his ass off.
He's a grinder. You see him on the indies. He's everywhere.
We see him everywhere. And so it's good to see the hard work be rewarded on a grander scale, on a grander stage. And because I feel like he's someone who has been, like, since his release from WWE, like, really building a name for himself on the indies, more so probably in the way that he sees fit, as opposed to the way that he was booked prior to his release. So it's good to see him have that achievement on his own terms after what he's been building these past couple of years.
Yeah, he's definitely on his own terms right now. We have Tessa Blanchard taking on Gia Miller, and Tessa getting the win. What'd you think of this matchup, Julie? Did you watch this one?
I was excited to see Gia in the ring again, especially because I think sometimes, we see people that are multi-talented sort of get pigeonholed into one role. I mean, Gia's been wrestling for I don't know how many years, but she's been wrestling for a long time, and we haven't really seen her showcased in that way in quite some time, because we've seen her as the backstage correspondent, which she's also very good at. But it's nice to see them let her break out from that role to get back in the ring. And it's just kind of a reminder, because I think sometimes people think like you have to pick one thing. You have to.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. Like once you get painted in a certain light, everyone's like, "Oh, that's what you are. This is what you do." You're that.
Right. I'm glad that, because I know that she does still, I believe she still does like customs and other things where like she still is active in the ring, just like not on TV regularly. So it's good to see her get that opportunity, and for people to be like, oh, like she can wrestle, like she's a good wrestler. We don't have to just pigeonhole her into this one role and sort of like lose sight of what she can do, because we see that sometimes, for example, like with Cutler Cross and Scarlett in WWE. I think that they're so extremely talented, and I think Scarlett she's so multi-talented in so many different ways that expand even beyond pro wrestling. But it's like, why didn't they have her wrestle? I'm like, for the love of God, like she's such a badass. And
they had no idea what to do with either of them.
And it's just nice, at least, not to veer off topic, but now that they are on the independents being able to do things their own way, I hope that, we get to see more of her in that capacity. But it's good to see people that can do more than maybe what they're being offered have that opportunity to show the world.
I'll say this: if you're paying me the same to not wrestle, I'll do it. Why not? I mean, so we also had the Call Your Shot gauntlet, and apparently this was controversial because we had two winners. Kazarian doing double duty. Him and Nick Nemeth were the double winners of this. Jay, what the hell happened?
Whoever idea was that for the finish? OMG. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I enjoyed this match. I was into it. I thought it was going to be the most silliest match that I've probably ever seen in my life. But I was so into it. I was invested. Hometown Mad had me laughing, for God's sakes. I was loving the women getting the time in this match, and they started off this match, which was really great for women's wrestling in TNA. I thought that was terrific. Everything about it was terrific until the finish. I didn't like the finish. I don't think you need co-champ winners or whatever you want to call it. I just don't think you need that. I think you need one winner, and I think it should have been Frankie Kazarian. But having Nick in it, I don't know if that's because we're promoting Busted Open here or what we're doing, but I just thought the finish was very bad. I didn't like that.
Somebody at TNA liked it. How about you, Julie? Did you like the ending?
I didn't like it.
To Jay's point, I think it's an odd choice, but two positive things that I could say about it. Number one, it's different. It's memorable because it's different. It gets people talking because it's memorable and it's different. Clearly, we're talking.
It's got Jay shaking.
Clearly, I mean, anytime that you can do something that's maybe a little controversial and different like that, I mean, it gets people talking, and that's what you want. And then people want to go back and watch it, and then they go to YouTube and they're looking for your video and they're watching your video, and then your viewership's going up. My second point, which could potentially be a positive, I think it's a lot of the ending of this match is going to hinge upon what they do with it next to make it make sense.
100% what
they do. I just thought Frankie should have got it. The guy's never been TNA champion, for God's sakes. He's been there for over
maybe
20
they're going to make him work for it.
It should have been only him. That's just my take. If you want to make a story in Massachusetts, that's your story, guys. Frankie Kazarian winning.
Let's see if that happens. We had Kalani Jordan taking on Indy Hartwell. And in this match, of course, Kalani Jordan was going to beat up Indy Hartwell, right? No question. Kalani Jordan's on her way to the top.
That AI is crazy.
Indy
like how
Hartwell,
everything's
listen,
on
Indy
fire
Hartwell is
in
great.
this
I love,
show.
I love, I love Indy Hartwell. I think she's awesome, but she's not better than Kalani Jordan as far as in-ring ability goes. That's my opinion.
The thing that bothers me, it just kind of ties into what I was saying before about the crossover. And that I love Kalani Jordan. I think she's extremely talented. And I think she's a great example of someone who was brought in as a college athlete that seems like she has caught on
Like
to
a fish
this.
in water.
Yeah, like she's developed very quickly and she's finding a style and she's using her acrobatic background to her advantage, much like Tiffany Stratton. The thing that I don't like about the crossover is I think that it's a cool concept in moderation, but I don't like that we're seeing so much crossover between like different championships on different shows, because I feel like it takes away a little bit of the magic, and I feel like it takes away, some of the time that we could be using to build up the women in the that are part of the TNA product. Whereas it's like, we have championships. We have the NXT Women's Championship. We have the NXT North American. We have other things for Kalani Jordan amongst her own product. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean, it hypes her up by giving her this opportunity to be the TNA Knockouts champion, but like, what is it doing for TNA? What good is it?
Nothing.
What
That's
good
the
is it
problem.
doing for TNA?
I agree with you. This partnership, that's the biggest problem, is NXT is the only one that's really benefiting from this partnership like full time. They're getting their superstars to look amazing on the other TV show. Where are the TNA superstars that look amazing on NXT week in, week out? They're very few. Most of them are getting scraped or not even used properly. We have the System taking on the Order, and I believe the System won this match.
Yes.
Was it a good match? Was it worth going back and watching?
Oh, yes. I enjoyed this match. This match was crazy.
I only caught one match from this show, and I'm sure you know what it was, but we'll get into that in a moment.
It had it all. I give kudos to Eddie Edwards' wife. Jesus.
I was going to say, Alicia Edwards is a badass.
She's so bad taking that bump.
Kudos to her.
Wow. I was impressed by everybody.
I got to watch it.
I like the match. It was.
I've been heavily impressed by Mustafa Ali this year. He's doing some of the best work of his life as far as like his camera presence, his promos, his ring work. He's clean, bro. He's really good.
Him, Tasha are another level.
I wanted to say really quickly, it is so lovely to see Bill Collier on TV, because I haven't really had the chance to work with him personally on the independents yet. I hope that I do get the chance to cross paths with him at some point. But from what I have seen of his work and from everybody that has worked with him, he has worked so hard and is so incredibly deserving of this opportunity. And even if you just see like the work that he has put in on his physique and his body in a short period of time, wow. He worked his ass off to be in this position, and it feels good to see him on TV.
Nice. We also had Leon Slater taking on Javon Evans. Javon Evans I met a long time ago. He's been doing this for not that long. I mean, it's crazy how young he is and what he's doing on TV. What happened here? The Dark State came and interfered and caused the draw where there was no winner?
Should I go first, or
you go first, Jay? You go first.
You know what happened? I'm really gonna go in because I am so freaking pissed off, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm pissed off. You know how wrestling companies like WWE, AEW, they talk about the future is here. This person is the future. This person's gonna run the show and everything. And then all of a sudden, you get a match like this. The finish was just horrendous to watch. This was freaking match of the night. And by the way, they stole the show. I don't care what match you talk about next, what cards or AIs. This was match of the night for Jay, even though I got that horrendous finish. But I just hate when WWE talk about John Evans saying how he's this, he's the future. He could be the next NXT champion. He could be the next North American champion. And he goes and he loses and he goes and he loses and he comes to TNA and he gets nothing, a no contest. It's just ridiculous. And I don't know why and especially Savage, you said it. I met him and everything. I don't know why we keep burying Javon Evans. It's driving me insane. It's driving me insane that he's not even in the main roster yet. And for 2 weeks on SmackDown, he's getting the biggest pops. And he got the biggest pop here in Massachusetts. It's driving me insane. Insane of what they think, especially for Leon saying, I get it, he's the champ and everything, but still, he could be a little more. And I have really high hopes for Javon Evans, but once again, I am disappointed. And this was a horrendous finish of match of the night.
You want to know what I think makes it a little bit more horrendous? And this is a little bit of like a sidebar rant, but the fact that it was Dark State, I don't understand this faction. And I have a problem with the fact that I feel like people, for some reason, creative writers in wrestling feel the need to keep cranking out spooky factions that don't make any sense. For example, when we talk about Mustafa Ali, when he had a couple of years ago, his group Retribution, where like everyone wore a paper plate on their face. We have the Cullen in NXT now, which is Sean Spears' group, and they stand in a diagonal line. Why are we standing in a diagonal line? What is this supposed to be? But it's and now Dark State, which is, I feel like a lot of people, it's like they took a group of people that are signed to NXT that I don't know anything about or have any level of investment in, and then they were like, you guys are gonna be spooky now.
When I see shit like this, that's when I know the college kids are writing the stories for this or something.
Who wrote this?
There's no
Who
way
wrote
anyone
to finish this? Who wrote to finish
There's no way any respected wrestler wrote this shit.
Fire.
No way.
Why so many spooky factions? Doesn't it seem like there's a lot of spooky factions that don't
I
need
guess
to...
it's Halloween time, maybe. I don't know.
But
For
I
a
mean,
whole
there's-
year. 1 year.
Dark
I
State
don't like
sucks. It's not good. It's
I
not
don't know
going to be
who's
good.
in it. I don't even like remember
Because
who's
nobody
in it.
cares. Nobody cares.
I don't even know the
Nobody cares.
members.
Here we go.
I don't
Nobody
know. I
cares.
don't know them.
You know, but look at these guys. I mean, what the fuck? It's 2025. It's 2025. We're talking about we can't create new stars. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with him and her. And you know why? Because these guys won't fucking retire. So nobody else can get any TV time. Now, I'll grant it. I'll say this. This match took me back to my childhood because I grew up with this shit. I grew up with the originals. I grew up with the tag team was better than both these guys. You know who it is? Oh, after all these years, I'm willing to admit it. Edge and Christian. Where the fuck? Why couldn't they just get Edge and Christian for this? They're going to have one final thing. Bring back the guys that helped start the party, the guys that won the original match. Great match. Good job to this crybaby over here. Good job to Devon. Good job to the Hardy Boys. Good job to TNA for booking it, but I wish you could have found a way to make this like an even bigger match, an even bigger deal. Maybe even at WrestleMania, you get Edge and Christian, you get the Dudleys, you get the... That's how I would have wrote it, but that's just me. What did you think about this? Should have been the main event too, by the way.
Yeah, I probably would have booked this as the main event as well, especially just having an emotional ending like that and these guys being the veterans that they are. I also, to your point, you know, when I started watching wrestling as a little girl, I was probably like 6 years old when I started wrestling. And those first TLC matches were like some of the main things that I remember like drawing me into this sport at a young age. Like they were my childhood. And so I love what they did. To your point, I think that there's more that they could do, but I think sometimes it's just like, you know, logistical timing, who's signed where and who's available and all those kinds of things. But you mean, would there be other ways to make it stand out even more? Sure, I agree with that. The one thing, and I'm gonna circle back to this topic that bothers me so much, because I was having a debate with someone about this earlier today. The fact that the Hardy Boys are the current NXT tag team champions, I find so... as much as I love and I adore the Hardy Boys more than anything, they were an integral part of my childhood, and I want to see them take over the world. But if anything, like if we're doing a crossover between TNA and WWE, can't we at least get them like on the main product? Why NXT? The thing that doesn't make sense to me is like, I get that we're trying to get big names into NXT to kind of give the new kids the rub. And, you know, it gives these young people opportunities to work with these really high caliber talents, which is amazing. And there's no way that like these young talents aren't going to grow exponentially from having that experience. But that being said, seeing as how some of these NXT talents are like recent college graduates, some of whom didn't come from an indie wrestling background and haven't really had a lot of experience in the ring, like, of course the Hardy Boys should be able to beat them. Like, it's a no-brainer. And in fact, NXT didn't even exist for years and years until the Hardy Boys were like long established in their career on, you know, performing on major stages. So it's not even like they started out in NXT, never won the tag championships, and then wanted to kind of like go back and right that wrong at a later point in time. It's like, what is the connection there for them? That's what I don't understand.
I'll say this, and they'll probably all get mad at me for saying this, but in my opinion, this match was selfish. It's about four guys who want to go out there and relive their goddamn glory days yet again, instead of putting over a new tag team from NXT or TNA. They could have used this opportunity to have a program and a story with a new tag team from TNA, from NXT, one that they created, one that's already there, whatever. And they go out and beat the Hardys and the Dudleys in a triple threat ladder match. Holy shit. That's how you make superstars. Why don't we have that? Because we have four old men who want to relive their glory days yet again and go out there and do it one more time instead of saying, you know what, fuck it. Let's create the next new tag team.
Oh, you guys want me to go on a rant?
Jay, I was going to say, I was like, I feel like I took up a lot of mic time.
No. I'm gonna just leech off from what Savage is saying. So Javon Evans and Leon Slater are not your future. The future is a co-main event, the Dudleys versus the Hardy Boys. It goes back to my case of what I said before. Now, I got to be careful what I said because Julie says she's a fan of both as a child. So now I really got to be careful what I say. But I will say this. I just think, sorry, there are technical difficulties.
Oh, that's okay. I can still hear you.
I will just
Halloween. You're trying to scare us or something?
I'm trying to do my VHS impersonation here. But I will just say this. I just think that it's unnecessary. I thought it was a great send-off, if you guys would agree with me on that. But I just did not enjoy the match. I thought these guys gave us 20 plus years of their experience of tables, ladders, and chairs and stairs. But I just think that we didn't need this match. I don't think their bodies need it. I swear for 5-10 minutes, I was looking for Devon. I didn't even know where he was. I was like, Devon.
Well, that's
and not for nothing, guys. I literally jumped out of my seat when I saw Jeff Hardy hit his head on the damn table in the concrete. I thought this guy had a freaking concussion or he was KO. That's a dangerous thing. How long can we let these guys do these to their
That's
body?
another reason why I would have let another tag team dance with them, because they could have did the brunt of the work, and then these guys don't have to sit there and worry about like how am I going to walk home tonight. But whatever, they're pros. They've done it a million times, and that might not even be the last match. That might be the last match on TNA. They're probably going to have another match on the Indies in 5 to 10 years. Mark my fucking words.
It was a great send-off, though. I thought it was a great send-off.
It's probably going to happen in Massachusetts, and Julie will be calling that shit. Okay, remember?
I hope. Oh, for the love of God, I hope so.
Could happen. Trick Williams versus Mike Santana for the main event, and we have a new champion in Mike Santana. I believe the first Puerto Rican world heavyweight champion.
Yes,
that's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal.
Yes, I'm Puerto Rican. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
That's pretty cool. I wanted to put that just one picture there of him and his kid because I know him. He's a good father first,
Aw.
and then a great wrestler second. So very happy to see him get his. Jay, what did you think about the match?
Yeah, I was very more impressed, not with Mike Santana. I was very more impressed with Trick Williams. When you talk about someone that is oozing with confidence and can go out there and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, this guy's delivering. Me and Savage, Julie, we always made fun of Trick Williams. I thought Trick Williams was one of the biggest jokes I've seen in wrestling because he didn't wrestle. He would just sell every match. Sell, trick shot, pin. This was actually a match that he just, and he had many more before, but this match, main event, Massachusetts, 7,000 people going crazy. He actually carried Mike Santana through this match, I believe, personally. And it was a great match. It was an awesome match, but it's not match of the night for me, guys. I'm going with Leon Slater and Javon Evans, but this was a very, very second. I enjoyed it.
Julie, you have any thoughts on the main event from TNA?
Very pleased with the outcome of this match. And again, I know I've talked about the NXT TNA partnership. I think it would have been a major mistake if this was not the outcome that we saw. One other thing that I will say, I know we talked about the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys potentially being the main event. I do think this moment is incredibly special, and I'm glad that we were able to have this, because this is like one of those moments where, like you said, it extends beyond just what it means to be a successful pro wrestler. It's like, this is him as a father. And again, I think I said this earlier about Steve Macklin, but he's another name that we see on the independents all the time, working everywhere and kind of developing his own path, his own new path in order to get to this point. And so to see this is like a special life moment. And I think that that's also worthy of the main event spot.
Definitely
Well
good,
said.
feel good moment. Hopefully we see more moments like this on the main roster, because I think he's main roster potential. He's been main roster potential for a while. It was nice to see TNA overall, good show. A lot of people showed up. It looked like it was sold out, but we got to move on to Monday Night Raw with World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins proclaimed division's dominance after he triumphed over Cody Rhodes to win the Crown Jewel Championship. So they're celebrating there at the opening of the night, looking good. Everything's A-okay, right? Dirty Dom defeats Penta for the IC title. He retains. A little help from Rusev, perhaps. Dirty Dom is the man. Julie, we're going to get back to Seth, but let me get your take on Dirty Dom here. Give me 30 seconds. Dirty Dom. Yeah, 30 seconds on Dirty Dom. What do you got?
Dirty Dom. Well, first of all, his list of romantic prospects is extremely impressive, especially for like,
yes,
I don't know, he doesn't have that like stereotypical like big, big muscular guy type. He's not. I mean, he's not my type, but I'm kind of surprised that he's a type for as many as he is.
Okay.
But he is a damn good wrestler, and especially considering, I mean, obviously being a child of a major superstar, I feel like his trajectory was a little bit non-traditional. Instead of going like the NXT developmental route and kind of taking his time, he was very much like catapulted into a big spot very quickly and bypassed a lot of things to kind of get to that spot, but he's absolutely killing it. So
his progression has been a joy to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think his progression is very non-traditional, but he's proven with both his character work, which is exceptional, I think, especially in comparison to like kind of the standard of what we see today. His character work is really exceptional, and clearly he is also delivering in the ring. So I think that, taking that sort of fast track to the main roster he's lived up to the hype.
I'm always a fan of anyone that can garner boos from the arena. And when I was at Vegas for WrestleMania and I'm listening to a stadium cheering, wanting Dirty Dom to win this IC title, it was satisfying because I'm like, he's worked his ass off for this specific moment right now. for everybody to say, all right, let's not boo this guy. He's our guy. We want him to win. It's nice to see that happen live. Jay, what'd you think about the match between him and Penta?
Yeah, it was good. That's it.
Sounds good. How about Rhea Ripley defeating Kairi Sane?
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't a match I was invested, but I gotta say, Kairi Sane is the MVP of the storyline. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay.
He really is the MVP. You can make her into a star, and this is it. I truly believe that.
I like that we've gotten to see a lot more of Kairi Sane. Like after she originally departed from WWE the first time, I feel like since we've seen her come back, we've seen a lot more character development from her. And I will say, like, there were a number of people that were released from WWE within the past couple of years that Triple H brought back. And I think that this was one instance of someone who left for a little bit, came back, and in coming back, like really showed up and showed out what she is capable of beyond what we had seen of her before.
Taking advantage of that opportunity for sure. Bronson Reed defeats Jimmy Uso, so his winning streak continues. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley defeat Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. I will say this. I did like Roxanne kind of talking a little trash tonight. Again, MVP of Raw, in my opinion. Roxanne Perez, great worker, man. What a pickup.
She's
grown a lot too in a short period of time from getting signed to where
this is someone that I hated actually. Like a couple of years ago, I was like, Cora Jade.
You hated her, man.
I said Cora Jade's better than her, which I thought she was at the time, but goddamn, man, she has impressed me and she has worked her ass off, and she is one of the best women on the roster right now.
Can I just say one thing? Split personality gimmicks do not work. That's all I want to say.
Been there, done that.
All I'm gonna say it doesn't work.
Julie, got anything on this before we keep it moving?
One thing I will say, just to touch really quickly on like the Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade comparison. One thing that I really like about what we've seen from Roxanne Perez, like Cora Jade, she's kind of had that like skater girl, bad girl thing from the get-go. But something that I like about Roxanne Perez is that she started out as like this sweet little thing. And I feel like we've seen her transform more and more over time into something. I feel like that it's challenged her. Like she has been challenged to transform from where she started to the person that she is now. I still feel like there's more that I want to see from her in terms of like character work and character development. But
thank God she's young. You're going to see a lot more.
I just feel listen, I'm going to say, because biggest Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade fan right here. I'm going to say what you just said. I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I'm going to blame booking, if that makes sense. She's hot. She's cold. She's cold. She's cold.
No, she's been hot. She's been hot this year. She's been hot this year.
No, she has not been hot.
Listen, she's number one.
No.
You want to hear something? She's number one.
I don't want to hear. I want to move on. That's what I want.
You son of a bitch. Listen, you're going to listen.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
One last thought, because this goes prior to this year. I would say the first year that she joined NXT, I thought that was very hot and cold for her, because there was like a period of time where she like wasn't even on TV, and I was like, what are they doing? Like, this girl's so talented. What are they doing with her?
Because they had high hopes for Cora Jade, and Cora Jade was that girl. If you remember, she came in with her boyfriend, and nobody knows his name now. God rest his soul. Came in with her boyfriend, and she was basically the valet, and she stepped it up, and they had high hopes for her, and Roxanne Perez was just sucking.
Well, she's definitely off to the races now. She's number one on my list of 300 women who are better than Mercedes Moné. Okay, she's on that list.
Ooh.
I'll say that. We have CM Punk defeating Jey Uso and LA Knight in a World Heavyweight Title number one contenders triple threat match. Of course, CM Punk's gonna win, right? We know he's gonna win. But did we know this was gonna happen? This to me cements the fact that Seth Rollins is injured. There's no way they're gonna just drop and dump this faction that fast. Unless there is something serious going on. He's probably going to be out for hopefully not long, but he's out right now. I guarantee you he's out. There's no way they did this unless he's injured. That's my opinion. Julie, what do you think about this shocking turn of events here at the end of Raw?
I agree with you. And I mean, based on just the little, obviously, because everything on the internet's correct, right? Based on the little snippets that I have read here and there, it sounds like the original plans for this were much later than obviously what we see here. So I would tend to agree with you that they had to pivot in order to make things make sense. But I mean, if he is injured, I hope he's not out for very long. And I, obviously wish him the best in his recovery, because I'm kind of sad to see this happen this soon, because I feel like
it's WrestleMania season almost, goddammit.
Right. And we just saw, I mean, I think that the way that they executed the Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman partnership at Mania this year was just absolutely beautifully, brilliantly done. I mean, that couldn't have been like any more cinematic. So it is kind of disappointing to see it end this early. But if that was kind of their best.
Well, no, it's not ending. If you notice the way Paul Heyman reacted, Paul Heyman had no idea this was coming. He's still on Team Seth. This was a Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed movement. We are going to have a tag team. They're probably going to go on to do something. I don't know if they're going to split, but it looked like they're sticking together because Braun told him to make a choice. Bronson made the choice. Seth is definitely hurt, and it looks like Paul Heyman, if you look at the look on his face, that's genuine worry.
Right.
He doesn't want this to be happening, but it is.
So they could run it back when Seth is healthy.
100%.
Assuming that's the case.
I think Paul Heyman picks up right next to Seth Rollins when that time comes. And in the meantime, we're probably going to get some, tidbits of like Paul Heyman. Why? Why'd you do this? Why'd you?
And I do think that would be really interesting, considering where, Bronson Reed was on Saturday, where he just left off on Saturday, to kind of have this like animosity towards Seth Rollins, just considering the position that Seth Rollins has held in the company for so many years. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of cool stuff that they could do with it to even, with this pivot for sure.
100%. If anything, you give me this. This is how I book it. Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker should be the both two dark horse number one chance of winning the Royal Rumble right now. And they both implode on each other. They both get each other eliminated, sets up their WrestleMania match. Okay? And then you don't have to worry about why you're not making Braun Breaker the champion another year. He can win next year. Next year he's winning the Rumble. This year is all about CM Punk winning that Rumble. In my opinion. That's what I think. Because he hasn't that's what I think. The only other person I'd give it to is Jacob Fatu, but I don't see it happening from the way he's been booked lately, unless he starts coming on TV and starts killing people again on a regular basis. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening now with Braun Breaker, because him and Bronson are brothers, so they're going to go on to be brothers. They're going to fight at Rumble. They're going to clash, and that leads to their match at Mania. Seth is the only factor right now. What happens? Is he even at WrestleMania, or are we going to get CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes?
TBD, I suppose.
100%. You know what's not TBD? Big event. Greek Savage will be there. I will be there. I will also be there with KC Navarro on November 15th. You can DM me for pre-orders or just come on by. We'll be there. The Savage Heavyweight Championship will be there. And Big Ox, he's got a big day coming up on November 1st against this loser, the biggest loser in the world. Why don't I'll just play the little movie. Where is it? Here's my movie. Should I play it?
Play it.
November 1st at Battle in the Borough 2. You have a chance to come on down to that dump Elmwood Park, New Jersey, and see what a team of absolute monsters looks like as Team Savage takes on Team Storm's team of losers. My team's filled with monster killers, let alone monsters. Guys who don't lose. Guys who do nothing but win. And on November 1st, they have a job to do, a job I hired them to do, which is to teach you a lesson in respect. Because see, what you forgot to mention in that stupid little letter of yours that you were reading is you assaulted me. You put your hands on me. I made you lose your cool. And if you don't agree to my terms, you're going to lose everything. Your money, your company, everything you've worked so hard for, you're going to lose. That's why you have to accept my terms. I like how you didn't even mention that in the letter. You're a little embarrassed that you lost your cool. Savage does that to people. I hope you're ready, DJ Storms, because I really don't think you are. On November 1st at Battle of the Borough, in that dump you call home, Elmwood Park, New Jersey, you're going to learn a lesson in respect, you stupid little loser. Yeah, he is a stupid little loser, though. He really
So
is.
where is Elmwood Park, New Jersey? Like what part of New Jersey is that
It's
in?
like 45 minutes from New York City. It's approximately 45 minutes where we dump all our trash. Like,
Is
he
it
literally
close?
he lives in a town 10 blocks over. They dump all our trash there.
Is it close to Newark, New Jersey?
Newark's a dump too. Why do you come on? Newark, yeah. It's like maybe like
Because I was gonna say
Yes.
Newark, I know that's where we were for
Okay.
WrestleCon. And I will say Newark, New Jersey was not my favorite place.
Yeah, no, it's a dump. I mean, no, Elmwood Park's a little nicer of a town compared to
Okay.
Newark, New Jersey. It's still a dump because it's New Jersey. You know, I think all of
Right.
New Jersey sucks because I'm from New York City. You know, we dump our trash there for Christ's sakes. I mean, this is real.
Fair.
I'm not making
Fair
it up.
point.
All right. But yes, November 1st, Battle in the Borough. We have Team Storms taking on Team Savage. There's a lot going on. We also have Ox Adams. He's got an open challenge. Anybody that wants to come on and challenge Big Ox Adams is more than welcome to. He will destroy you like he does everybody else. Eric Corvus is taking on Alex Riviera. This was supposed to be Marcus Mathers. He had to back out. So Alex Rivera is going to have to step up to the challenge and take on Eric Corvus. We have Zombie King Jr. Flo taking on Mateo Marcellus for the PWM Dark Arts Championship. We also have the Audacity taking on Misery Incorporated. We have Tiffany Grady, who's going to destroy Nahir Robles, who was, by the way, she's asking for money because her flight got delayed tonight. Nahir, you're going to do the same thing that you do every day on November 1st, and that's lose because you're a loser. Tiffany Grady is God's gift to women. Are you familiar with Tiffany Grady, Julie?
I have seen her around before. I haven't had the pleasure of working with her yet, but I'll have to check out more of her stuff because I see that if you're managing her, she must be something
She's
special.
top notch in the ring. We also have Rick Recon and Greek God Papa Don teaming up to take on the Silk City Kings. That one's getting personal. They're both maniacs. Rick Recon's a maniac. Greek God Papa Don's a maniac. But the Silk City Kings are very athletic, very experienced tag team. So this is going to be one to watch. And then, of course, the main event, Team Savage taking on Team Storms, where you have Ox Adams, Phil Insane, Anthony Gangone taking on the three biggest losers I've seen in a long time in Adonis Stone, Trey Felipe, and Tony Cini. DJ Storms is the biggest loser I know, but you have to call him if you want tickets because he's too stupid to go on, websites and set up Eventbrite or another way for people to buy tickets. No, he wants you to call him. So call that loser. You have his number. When he picks up the phone, say, "Hi, is this the loser DJ Storms?" He might give you $5 off, but he's a bum. He's an absolute bum.
That's very old. That's very old fashioned of him to do a call in.
Well, look at him.
Does he have like a rotary phone too?
Probably his dad's dial phone in the basement or something. All right. My favorite part of the show. That's too loud. I'm closing that right away. Congratulations to Takeshita. This was a last minute addition. He is the New Japan World Heavyweight Champion. That is awesome. I love him. Jay, I told you about him. I think he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world today. I think he could be in WWE if he had appropriate management, possibly myself or someone like Don Callis. This guy could run roughshod through everybody. Find another Japanese guy who's 6'5", wrestles like him, looks like him. Guy is massive. Did you know he was 6'5", this man?
I did not know he was that tall. I mean, I figured he was pretty tall. Also, everyone's pretty tall in comparison to me because I'm 5 feet and half an inch tall. So, I mean, being surrounded by wrestlers, I'm always surrounded by like big guys. But I didn't know he was that tall. I will say I've seen like when he initially joined AEW, I remember seeing, I don't know that they gave him like a lot of promo time, but like I did see some interesting bits and pieces of kind of like a snarky personality here and there. And I think to your point, to take that and pair it with the appropriate management to kind of bring that out more, I think would be really interesting to see.
He has a assassin movie star quality about him. He looks like a killer. He looks marketable. He is a big, strong, hell of a pro wrestler. So congratulations to him. I wanted to get your take on this, if you're willing to. Raja Jackson stays silent, entering court as he pleads not guilty in the assault charges. Do you have any say on that incident that happened a few weeks ago with Raja Jackson? Are you familiar with what happened that blew up the internet?
Myself or Jay?
Julie, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did follow the incident. Most importantly, I'm so glad to see that Psycho Stu came out of that incident okay. And I know that there are a lot of people in the wrestling community that rallied behind him and his family in terms of paying for his medical expenses. I would love to hear more of an update on him and just kind of see, hear more about how he's doing. I think it's an interesting choice for Raja Jackson to stay silent as he pleads not guilty. I think that there were a number of people that seemed to be at fault for setting up a scenario in which this incident was able to happen in the first place. I don't think that he ever should have been put in the position that he was put in to even allow that to happen in the first place. I'm just glad to see that Psycho Stu is okay. I'm glad to see that law enforcement did step up and is taking this as seriously as I think that they should. And it'll just be interesting to see kind of how it unfolds in the coming weeks as we're able to find out more information about the case itself.
It's fucked up, but money talks, and I think this kid's gonna walk. And good lawyer, he's lawyering up. That's why he's staying silent, because that's what his lawyer's telling him to do, is to not say a fucking word. My advice to any promoter that's going to bring in somebody from social media or MMA or whatever, if they have absolutely no wrestling experience, the only thing you're doing with them is cutting promos. That's it. They should have nowhere near the ring, nowhere near the locker room. They're in the front of the house or in the office. That's it. Or outside. No locker room access. But that's me. Jay, you got anything on that before we move on to Zeta?
You guys covered it well. All
right. Zeta Steel announces WWE exit after choosing not to renew her contract. I don't know much about it. Do either of you?
Yes. I've seen a little bit here and there, because I don't remember the exact date, but I remember last year, I think it was around November, when they initially announced the beginning of the WWE ID program, in which she was one of the initial signees. And she was one of the signees that I also thought, made a lot of sense, because she's extremely beautiful. She's extremely charismatic. If you've ever seen her perform, I worked with her. She was on the Fight Factory show that I did over the summer that I mentioned earlier on the Jersey Shore. And just the way that she interacts with the crowd, she's very charismatic. And so, it's interesting to see. There's a couple of talents, I believe, that are not renewing their contract, her being one of them. I know Kylie Ray, I believe, recently announced that she is expecting her second child, if I'm not mistaken. And so it sounds like her contract is not being renewed because she's not going to be in action. And then there was another girl, I don't want to butcher her last name. Azara was the first name. I don't want to butcher her last name, but she was one of the other few female WWE ID prospects, and she had announced that she's taking a step away from wrestling on her social media at the moment. So right off the bat, there's 3 women. I don't know if there's any more women that were signed to ID contracts, but none of them are coming back. And I think it's an interesting choice. And I have to admit that I'm not surprised, in the sense that you have these ID talents that, they're getting opportunity because of the ID distinction. They're getting opportunity on WWE Evolve, on, some level of WWE TV, even though I think it's but
the pay still stinks.
Well, I think, I don't know all of the details for sure, but I'm pretty sure that the ID prospects get some sort of a stipend that helps with some of their travel expenses and things like that, kind of associated with, indie wrestling. But beyond that, it's kind of like
it's as basic as it gets.
A contract. It's like, we might sign you. We're going to hang this contract on a fishing pole right in front of you, and we might sign you, but you don't know if we're going to or not. And so I think it's a little nonsensical in the sense that, like, you have these young kids that are like early 20s, clearly extremely passionate about wrestling, clearly extremely talented, and yet you're not signing them to a developmental contract. However, at the same time, you are signing people in that same age bracket who are college athletes that have no in-ring experience whatsoever and perhaps don't even have the passion for the sport. You're signing those people to at least like 3-month developmental contracts. That's what doesn't make sense to me, is like, you have the people right here that like want to be here, that are performing at a very high level, and yet you're almost prioritizing them below these college athletes.
Yeah. What doesn't make sense is that they're not turning this into an actual draft with actual college campuses that are dedicated like the NXT Performance Center. We should be thinking about how we're going to open up more NXT Performance Centers, minimum of, let's say, 10 of them throughout the country in areas that, number one, can make it happen. We'll have support from the communities and have real college students or wrestling hopefuls have a real place to go and become professional wrestlers, and then actually have a thing called a real draft every year, not this magical fantasy shit we do on TV where this superstar goes here, this superstar goes there, and then in 5 weeks they're on any fucking show they want anyway. No, have a real draft with people that have been busting their ass who want to become professional wrestlers, and guess what? You're probably going to sell out every show that you're going to have at every performance center. You're going to make money. You can have a lot of these hopeful students pay dues, pay college, pay rent, tuition, whatever you want to call it. They can have a legitimate system. They have the money, they have the resources, they have the means. But instead, they want to do this lazy shit. The ID, I think it's going to get scrapped, especially what happened with Raja Jackson now. There's too much liability when you give this ID thing to an independent school where WWE is not physically there monitoring and watching 24/7, 365. The Performance Center works because it's on WWE property.
I agree. I 100% agree. I would not be surprised if it got scrapped. Also, partially because, like you said, there's only so much that they can do to monitor it. I think it's really subjective. I mean, unfortunately, I think that there's a lot of really talented people that like should be in this program. If not, like, they should have already had a tryout or like have been in developmental that aren't. And so it's all, wrestling's always going to be subjective, right? But I just like, there were some people that were selected to be in this program that I felt were no-brainers, and watching them perform, I was like, they absolutely
guys like Bryce Donovan, Marcus Mathers,
I mean, Marcus Mathers, watching him perform, it's like I thought he just performed like years beyond his age. But it just seems a little too all over the place. And then you've got like ID schools, but this ID schools aren't necessarily linked to the ID talent. There's not necessarily we're not necessarily creating ID stars from the ID schools. It's just kind of like, who are the schools associated with? Because you have, Reality of Wrestling, Booker T School, Black and Brave, it's Seth Rollins School. It's like, you have the association, but like none of these prospects have necessarily come from these schools.
Yeah. A lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of it feels very random, and they just throw the tag on whoever they feel is a potential superstar, is how I look at it.
But then I also thought at the end of the first year, I thought that unless I'm mistaken, I thought that the premise was that they were going to award a developmental contract to at least one of those talents. And I mean, I haven't heard anything about it yet, so maybe there's still time for it to happen.
Well, didn't they just have the tournament recently where they had the winners and the losers, Jay?
Yes.
They did, right? And what happened? Did any of them get contracts?
No, but they're on TV, though.
Okay.
They're on NXT.
They're on TV. They're on NXT. All right. We'll see what happens. Xia Brookside pulled from TNA, Bound for Glory. Unfortunately, I think she came down with something. She wasn't feeling good. That sucks for her.
Look.
Elijah also returned at Bound for Glory, Jay. Did anybody care?
No. Nobody cared.
Julie, anything on these two?
I hadn't heard about the Zaya Brookside news. I hope that she's okay, and that it's hopefully
she's
nothing.
okay too. Yeah.
Nothing that's too serious. Elijah, I'm always entertained by what he does. So I'm curious to see, now that he's back, are they going to do anything different and unique with him to kind of obviously play into his shtick? Well, maybe mixing it up a little bit and creating some sort of a new story with him. I'd love to see it if they do.
This is a guy who once upon a time had Monday Night Raw in the palm of his hands, just like an Enzo Amore, just like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. This guy had Raw in the palm of his hands. Every arena he went to, with the light shining down, the drifter, the gimmick worked.
Yeah.
I don't know why we fucking changed it. Ronda Rousey says everyone should get one open hand slap per year to keep people in check. Do you agree, Jay?
No, I don't agree with anything.
So you're not into the physical abuse. How about you, Julie? Some physical abuse is good for you or no?
I'm really confused as to why she said this. It kind of reminds me, is that kind of the concept? Well, loosely the concept for that like power slap show that they're doing?
I guess. I don't think she has anything to do with power slap.
I don't know. I didn't know that she said this, and I have no idea what the context is. So I'm gonna say no.
I think this was at Comic-Con, and it was at a panel, and just a fan was asking her maybe her opinion on something. Whatever, who cares? Stevie Richards accuses WWE of withholding royalty checks for 10 years. I'll say this, Stevie, they've probably been holding every royalty check for you for the last 10 years. But the problem is there's no money to put into your check because you don't make any money from royalties. Who the fuck is buying a Stevie Richards shirt from WWE? Are you? How much royalty is he missing? $5? Don't piss me off right now, Stevie Richards.
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this. I know that, for example, you had mentioned Enzo. I feel like there are some talents like him that have shared things on social media about, because obviously he was very popular within WWE, despite not having been signed there in a number of years, still receiving royalty checks from merch sales and things like that. But even that at this point, how many years has it been? I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
20 plus
I don't know
years.
enough about it.
I've seen royalty checks from different wrestlers, and I'm not going to say names or amounts or any of that, but it's not what people think. It's really not, especially not since the TKO merger. It's worse than ever. They've made gross changes. I'll say it. It's gross changes. I'm talking about people who should be making, let's say, $500,000. Now they're only making, maybe $250,000. They're literally making half of what they should be making according to like the way Vince McMahon would pay out for royalties. TKO has severed that relationship. Like nah, no more. That shit is a wrap. So I don't know what money he thinks he could be getting. Maybe they owe him like $20. I don't know. Send him a coupon to Costco or something.
I do really like Steven Richards.
I like him. He's a good guy. He didn't make a lot of money back then. What the fuck money does he think he's making now?
He seems like a cool guy. I don't know. This is the first that I'm hearing of this.
He's a very cool guy. He needs to go calm down. All right, the fans hijacked Triple H at Crown Jewel. They were chanting Edge, MJF, and also Triple H accused of prioritizing politics over WWE duties. I don't believe any of that. I think people are hating on Triple H. This guy's probably the hardest working guy in the wrestling business right now. And most of the stars that people love today, if it wasn't for Triple H, they wouldn't have had a place in NXT to get to where they are today. But that's me. Julie, what's your take on any of this nonsense about Triple H?
I guess I'm confused. What was the basis of the Edge and MJF chants?
Just AEW fans
trolling.
Just AEW fans trolling the pre-show or the post-show, and they just wanted the chant to be louder than the actual show.
Oh,
obviously they're chanting for people they love. They want to see MJF. Right. They want to see Edge.
It's like when we chanted for CM Punk for like 10 years and he wasn't there, and we just chanted CM Punk for no reason.
That was us being assholes for 10 years.
I guess he did finally come back, so it worked, but I don't know. I don't necessarily see that it's super relevant for. I mean, I guess like we love Edge and we love MJF, but like Edge made a choice on his own volition to kind of go and do his own thing, and MJF probably very well could have gotten signed by
Listen, MJF just signed a 5-year deal like last year, so he's not going
Right.
anywhere for 4 years. Edge's contract is up, I believe, at the end of the year or right before the end of the year. I don't know if there's a 90-day clause or not, but I doubt we're going to see Edge be one of John Cena's final opponents. I don't. Jay, you got anything on this?
Yeah. You say Triple H is the hardest worker in the room. I think he does some pretty bad decisions, and I'm gonna go give you guys an example, which you guys didn't cut off, which I'm very surprised. The fact that Kylie Ray is pregnant and she got fired, I don't think that's being discussed a lot, and that's a shame. And we want to give this guy kudos to everything. No, I'm not going to give kudos to him. This so-called Dana White in front of me trying to be wannabe, and I don't enjoy it. I think he does some bad creative decisions. I think WWID was a great idea because you guys talked about it so much, about how these indie wrestlers are finally getting their shot, but they get treated fairly. They get treated unfairly. Excuse me. We got Kylie Ray. I agree with you, Savage. This is going to be scrapped because they had an idea. They thought it was cool to bring these experienced indie wrestlers to come on TV to become something. And then I think I did realize, you know what? I think we just need to pick the good from the bad and get rid of the bad, because you guys said it. Now they're coming with people from gymnastics backgrounds, soccer backgrounds, football backgrounds, and they're more athletic, and we can mold them into the system, and they'll be a lot easier to mold, and we don't have to pay them so much compared to these indie wrestlers that you guys talk about and you love. And I love them too, don't get me wrong. I'm a big Kylie Ray fan. She was big 6 years ago. I don't even know why it took her this long to get, her shot. And it's just a shame that a pregnant woman is fired and not given the opportunity, and possibly will not be given the opportunity just for the fact that her age is 36 years old. And that's really old in this business. And I just think it's a very bad decision on what Hunter's doing, because like you say, Savage, he is that boss. He is the final boss. He's the final shot. And I don't think it's fair. I don't agree with what they're saying about the politics. I think that's all BS, to be honest. It's just dirt sheet rumor. But I just don't agree with certain decisions that this man is doing. And the fact that I have to turn on my freaking Netflix to see this WWE Unreal shit pop up in front of me as a preview to just highlight this guy like he's really freaking Dana White. I mean, give me a freaking break.
I'll just say this and then I'll go straight to Julie. Listen, heavy lies the crown. And with new companies come new plans, new ideas, new things. There's a lot of pressure.
Pregnant women. That's
I'm not saying a lot of these bad decisions that Triple H is making. A lot of these bad decisions Triple H is making are not even coming from him. They're coming from higher places, and he just has to perform them out. So of course you're going to get it.
They run it to who? To him.
Of course, yeah. Julie, what's your take on all this?
There you go.
So, a couple final thoughts. So, in terms of Kylie Ray, I think what happened. So, I think her contract is set to expire. Because I think all of the ID prospects must have signed a 1-year contract from when they were brought on at the beginning of the program last fall. So, I think her contract is set to expire. So I think in that case, like they're not technically releasing her from the contract. They're just letting it go, if I'm not mistaken. But I see how I kind of questioned it too when I first saw it, because of the fact that she is pregnant and there's all kinds of discrimination laws about, being able to fire someone for those kinds of reasons, or, for if someone is disabled or, whatever it may be. There's laws against, how you can handle those kinds of situations as an employer. And so I think it sounded like they were just letting the contract expire. But to your point, I think like it doesn't. On one hand, like she's not going to be able to wrestle for a while, but then on the other hand, it kind of doesn't look great, because then it kind of looks like they're not being supportive of her in, you know, this life.
All I'm saying is just it's just bad press. You're
Right.
absolutely right on what you're saying. I'm not going to disagree with the contracts, etc. But it's bad press.
It doesn't.
Okay? You already had bad press this past Saturday with the national anthem. Now you know what everybody thinks of the USA. Now we have an idea.
From all the shit they've gone through,
why would I?
If these two stories are going to do anything,
listen,
Vince McMahon
why would I put my team
Come on,
in a
man.
position? Hold on. I'll let you rant because you've been ranting for a long time right now. Hold on a second.
I want to get out to the next one.
All I'm going to say is that why would I put myself or my staff that's in charge in that position to fire someone that's pregnant? Wouldn't you think I just
First
keep
of all,
her
stop
a little
saying
bit
that.
on
They didn't
and
fire her.
then release her?
They didn't fire her.
I would not put any.
They didn't fire her. They just didn't rehire her.
No, we don't do that. You're missing the whole point.
I get the point. You want her to get paid for staying at home and being pregnant. I get it. I
You're not getting it. You're obviously on Triple H's ass. So I'm gonna let you suck up to it. Smell it. Maybe it smells like flowers.
Listen, why don't you send Kylie Ray some money? Help her out, okay? I'm sure she's going to do just fine. She probably has a strong online presence. She probably has fans. She probably has money. Come on.
That's the point.
She'll be all right.
You never got her shot.
How about better news? All right, happy news. Carmella, Corey Graves celebrate the birth of their second child. Congratulations to them. And Donald Trump might be at John Cena's last match. Does anybody give a shit? Is that a good thing, a bad thing, Jay? But I want to get
political here.
So I like that answer. How about you, Julie? Are you brave enough to answer this?
This is actually the first that I'm hearing about this.
I don't think it's going to happen, but
I feel like they've changed the location and date of John Cena's final match a couple of times. And to be honest, it is a little bit difficult for me to keep track of it with the number of times that it has changed. I'm curious as to why they landed on Washington, D.C.
Money, because Boston did not want to pay what Washington, D.C. paid.
Oh, fair. Although Boston would have been really special considering the Cena connection. But
special's not in the menu anymore. WWE is about one and one thing only. It's called making money, which is why Kylie Ray's contract wasn't renewed because they want to make money.
Oh my God. You're still missing the point.
Mercedes Moné snaps at fans over WWE return questions. You're lucky they even want to even talk to you, Mercedes goddamn Moné. What's your take on this, Jay? Her snapping on fans.
I don't know what your hate towards her is because she's actually on my top 10 wrestlers of this year. If I were to come up with a top 20, top 30, top 500 list, she would be definitely on top 5. I don't know what your hate towards her
I love
is.
the trash.
And by the way, before you keep trashing her more,
I won't. I'm done. I'm sorry.
She's now 10 belts.
Okay, that's right. And yet Tony Storm kicked her ass. So who gives a shit? She could have 50 fucking belts. She couldn't beat Tony Storm. Fact. Julie, your take on Mercedes Moné?
So I do understand, like, to some degree. On one hand, sometimes, like, you have to be careful snapping at fans when they're asking questions because they might just be asking from, the place of, we loved Sasha Banks, we love you, we love seeing you on WWE TV, and it's not really meant to be insulting, but it's coming from a good place because they like her work there, and that's kind of how they initially became a fan of hers. Excuse me. So I think it's tricky because I think that sometimes people are asking those questions and they're not trying to be disrespectful. They're trying to come from a good place. But I can also see from her perspective, it's like she left WWE on her own volition. She wanted to go other places, do other things, accomplish other things, change her name, do things on her own terms after, being with WWE for a number of years. And so I think to her, it's kind of like, well, why aren't you guys like in the now with me? Why aren't you focused on what I'm doing in the now? So I can see, her frustration, but I can also see too, like, I think that this has kind of happened a few times before where people have said things to her that are kind of off, and she's just kind of like, why are you, who are you thinking that you know all of this
To
about
defend
me?
her a little bit, people get tired of the repetitive and the same questions and the same shit. I met CM Punk a long time ago, and I wanted him to sign that WWF championship right up there, which he did, but he did it in disgust. He acted like, this belt, this company sucks, because he's sick of it. He got sick to the point where people were bringing him that WWF questions, and same thing for Monet. Speaking of Punk, they're planning a huge match for him. Julie, who do you think the huge match is going to be for main event for CM Punk?
Ooh.
What could be a huge match?
I'm trying to think of what
World Heavyweight Championship.
what would make sense. I'm trying to think what would make sense that also wouldn't bury anybody in the process. Like
World Heavyweight Championship match that he just won. Number one
LA Knight.
I mean, could it be like a Braun Breaker or a Bronson Reed and give them the? I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, because you don't want to bury anybody. You still want to use CM Punk for, you know, major stuff next year, but then you also want to build up some of these guys like a Bronson Reed and a Braun Breaker, and you don't really want them to lose cleanly. I think if anyone would lose cleanly, it would probably be Punk.
I always thought this was going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the championship. I'm still going to stick by it. We just got to see what the outcome is on Seth Rollins' injury. And if he's out for a long time, we will see a new champion, and I think this would be the match.
If he's out, they have to do some kind of tournament or something. Maybe they'll do it at
exactly. This would be the match, regardless.
Nick Nemeth furious about TNA World Title being held by NXT talent. Well, Nick, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And Nick Nemeth also claimed he threatened to quit over the Goldberg match. Any comments on Nick Nemeth? Julie, I'll go to you first.
I mean, you guys know how I feel at this point about the TNA NXT crossover. I think that I do think it's mutually beneficial to some degree, like in terms of maybe getting more visibility onto the TNA product. But I think it's also kind of putting NXT over more in terms of putting championships on their people. And then the other thing is too, like a lot of the people that maybe they're cross programming are people that were previously in WWE. So it's like they still have that connection. So like I'm not terribly surprised. Granted, that's a true headline and that actually reflects his feelings. I'm not terribly surprised, and I don't think he's
furious. I think furious.
I don't know about furious.
I think they're taking it from out of context from his comments on the Busted Open radio show, because he now that he does radio, he's saying something all the time, so he's getting more headlines from that. I didn't know that he wanted to quit when Goldberg was supposed to, just beat him up. I don't think he liked that much. I don't even think anybody cares. Vince McMahon facing court after the crash in Connecticut. Jay, do you think he's in trouble? I don't think he's in trouble.
No, I don't think he's in trouble.
Julie, how about Vince? Is he in trouble, or is he going to be okay again?
I don't know a lot about it. From the little bit that I heard, it sounded like he was tailgating someone, and that was what they thought led to the accident. That might be a little bit tricky.
Tailgating sounds like a really generous thing to say. I think he just crashed into this guy or girl, whatever who it was.
I thought the headline that I read said that he was tailgating, and that was what they had believed caused the accident, but don't quote me on that. If that's the case, it might be a tricky thing to prove that he was at fault. But I don't know anything about the law.
Anyway, no car crashes bringing Vince down. I am excited to hear this: Tiffany Stratton and Nikki Bella at WrestleMania. That's a generational match. What do you think about it?
I would love that.
Yeah, I would love that. I wouldn't love seeing that match. I think it would be a good match.
I think it would be a good match. We might just see it at WrestleMania 42. Dax Hardwood hits back at fans who say FTR became a joke. I can't blame some fans for seeing that, but I don't think they've become a joke. I think they're still one of the best tag teams in the game, maybe the best tag team in the world if they're presented that way. So pretty harsh from the fans. What do you think, Julie?
I agree. I mean, they've had a lot of phenomenal matches in their time in AEW. I mean, obviously over time, certain teams or certain talents are going to be hot and cold, just depending on booking and who's available and things of that nature. But I think they've had some really banger matches. If anything, I remember watching them at a house show, a WWE house show way back in 2019. And they wrestled, I believe it was Bobby Roode and Chad Gable at the time, and they had like such a banger match, and it was like, why aren't we seeing this on TV? And so I felt like when they came to AEW, we did get to see more of their talent showcase. So I disagree with that statement. I think they're very, very far from a joke.
Yeah, it's from a fan, and most of the fans are stupid. Let's be honest. Braun Strowman fires back at Paul Heyman with a new cooking show plug. Whatever. I saw the tweet. I read it. Paul Heyman dominated Braun. That's my opinion. What do you think, Jay?
I don't even know what the tweets were said. You got to fill me in here. What was the exchange?
Paul Heyman basically said, I didn't even know you were still alive. Something like, basically, nobody cares about you. If you read it, you see Paul just shit on him. Pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a work or not. I can't really give my full input, but I will say this. Braun's been through a lot. I think he has some sort of he's paralyzed, I believe he mentioned, just for the fact with his leg.
He was still working.
I think he has some issues with his leg. So that's another reason why he's not wrestling at this moment. But I am excited for the cooking show. I seen it. I think it's gonna be good.
I wish nothing but luck for Braun Strowman.
I'm looking for the best, man.
You got anything on Paul Heyman or Braun Strowman, Julie?
Well, I didn't know that Braun Strowman had a cooking show until just now. So do you know anything about the cooking show? Like what kind of a cooking show it is?
I think he's just doing sort of like what Guy does, and he just goes to different
Guy Fieri?
Yeah, he goes to different restaurants and he just tries out the food and stuff.
First of all, that's a sweet concept for a show. Second of all, I hope he dresses up like Guy Fieri for it.
We'll see.
Hulk Hogan, his career is getting defended after Bret Hart was accusing him of holding back talent. Bret Hart's always got something to say. I think Bret Hart talks more shit than anybody in the world today. JC Jane possibly suffered a leg injury at a live event. We hope she's okay.
Oh, no.
Any updates on that? Julie, you know anything about JC Jane getting hurt?
Oh, no.
I hadn't heard anything. I hope it's not a severe injury. And if it is a severe injury where she has to vacate the title, I hope that they go about it in a strategic way. But it is disappointing because I know that JC Jane has a lot of supporters, and she is someone that grinded on the indies to get to the spot that she's at now, to be at the top of the mountain.
She's been getting over for a while.
A lot of respect. Yeah, a lot of respect for her. I'm really proud of the way that she has been able to get over. And if they do have to do something where they vacate the championship, I hope that they choose the right people to put.
She literally literally kicked Gigi Dolan off of TV with that kick to the face, man. Poor Gigi. I love Gigi Dolan. I thought she was great, and
I do too.
I don't know why they don't bring her back, but I guess whatever, they got plans, right? Tony D'Angelo, though, he's making his return to NXT. I'm looking forward to that. And another injury, Ibushi was seriously injured at Collision. I hope he's okay too. Speedy recovery to him. I heard he had a successful surgery, though. Nobody does it better than Mr. Ruda for all your championship needs. He'll make you any title you want. Just hit him up at ruda.entertainment. Hit him up on Instagram. Send him a DM. He also has a book out now, his first book ever, written by him, illustrated by me. I Am Championship material, available on Amazon and Billy Book Baby. My first book that I did for my son, Nicholas at the Zoo, A Wild Adventure, that's also available on Amazon and Book Baby. Nicholas at the Aquarium, coming soon. A little sample of the work. It's a cute little book. If you got nothing else going on and you need a good, quick Christmas present, look no further than Nicholas at the Zoo, A Wild Adventure.
That's amazing.
Julie,
I have to buy both of those for my nephew now. Now that I know about them.
We'll make sure to take care of you. I appreciate you tremendously coming on here. Again, reminding everybody, go follow the Crown Jewels on Instagram. Julie, you want to kick us out with anything going on and coming up immediately that people should be talking about besides this?
A couple of things. I have some things that I'm going to plug that I'm not quite ready to plug yet, but we do have, like I said, the show for Rebel Spirit Pro Wrestling on Thursday, October 30th, and that is in Marlborough, Massachusetts. I have a couple more podcasts and appearances on the calendar, but I don't have the graphics just yet to share. So if you do follow me on Instagram at The Crown Jewels, Crown is with an E at the end. It's the old English spelling. That's just how we roll here. So thank you so much again for having me. This was a lot of fun, and I haven't done this sort of like review show style podcast in a while. So
I hope you had a good time, and
I had
you're
a great
always
time.
welcome. Yeah. You're
Thank
welcome back
you.
anytime, James. As always, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week
Thank
right
you.
here on Wrestling with Savage.